Hi everyone, so today we're going to go over proportions. So when we talk about proportions, we're talking about a ratio and comparing ratios. So proportions are ratios. They look a lot like ratios. So if I was going to say for every 10 Oreos I eat, I consume 300 calories. That is a ratio, 10 Oreos to calories. So I'm comparing Oreos and calories. So for every 10 Oreos I eat, I'm going to consume 300 calories. And then I could say, well, how many calories would I consume if I ate 15 Oreos, given this proportion to Oreos and calories? So proportions help us figure out unknowns as well. But we're comparing two things. And we're going to use these two things, this comparison, to help us figure out unknowns. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is the first thing you're going to be given is you're going to be given two proportions, and you're going to be asked if it's true or false. So let's take a look. We have an example here, a good one. 21/12 equals 28/16. And you're asked, is this true or is this false? True or false? Okay. So how can we figure out if this proportion is true or false? Well, we do something called cross multiplication. Cross multiplication. And all that is multiplying diagonally across. So I'm going to multiply 12 times 28, and then I'm going to multiply 21 times 16. Now, for this proportion to be true, this side has to equal this side. If they do not equal each other, then the proportion is false. Okay? A proportion states that two rates or ratios are equal. So the proportion means two rates or ratios are equal if it's correct. So if it is truly a proportion, this side is going to equal this side, okay? So how do we check it? We use cross multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 12 times 28. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply 21 times 16. Okay, so I'm going to use my handy dandy multiplication chart. 12 times 28 is 336. And 21 times 16 is 336. So is my proportion true or false? Does it match the definition that two rates or ratios must be equal? Yes. So this one is true. Okay. So when you're asked if a proportion, if it truly is a proportion, true or false, that is how you solve it. You cross multiply. Let's look at another example. So this one is involving decimals. So we have 2.1 over 7.1 equals 2 over 7. And we're trying to figure out, is this true or false? Okay, we don't know. How do we figure this out? We cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 2.1 times 7, and then 2 times 7.1. Okay, so and then this is where you're going to have to remember your the rules for multiplying decimals. So 2.1 times 7, remember we ditch the decimal, so actually it's 21 times 7, right? So 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14. there is one digit to the right of this decimal, so it's 14.7. So 22.1 times 7 equals 14.7. All right, now let's figure out what is 7.1 times 2. So again, I can ditch the decimal. It's just 71 times 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. There's one digit to the right of this decimal here, so 14.2. So 2 times 7.1 equals 14.2. So is this a proportion? Are these ratios equal to each other? False. It is not, because this is 14.7 and this is 14.2. So they do not equal. This one is false. Okay? So how to check if proportions are equal to each other? We cross multiply. The next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to solve a proportion. Okay? And I used to love these. I used to love these as a kid because they're so useful. All right, so we have a proportion, 7/20. Okay, so this could be 7 Oreos to 20 calories, right? I wish that it was that low to eat when you eat 7 Oreos. I think it's more like 300 calories, right? But 7 Oreos, for every 7 Oreo cookie, you have 20 calories, right? You consume 20 calories. All right, well, what happens if I eat 35 Oreo cookies? How many calories would I consume? Okay. So look how simple and cool this is, right? You use one ratio to help you figure out another amount. So this ratio was Oreos to calories. So if you eat 7 Oreos, 20 calories goes inside your body, right? You consume 20 calories. Now what happens if you eat 35 Oreos? How many calories are you going to consume? I don't know, but this is how I would set it up. So that would be my unknown in X. So similar to how we were looking at proportions, we're going to also use that the same way here. We're going to cross multiply again. So we're going to multiply the diagonals, okay? So 7 times X is 7X equals 20 times 35. Okay. This becomes 7X equals 20 times 35 is 700. Ah, doesn't this look like a linear equation? How do we get rid of this 7 times X? Well, how do we undo 7 times X? We undo it by dividing by 7 on both sides. So this becomes 1, right? So we're just left with X equals 700 divided by 7 is 100. So if you ate 35 Oreos, you'd be consuming 100 calories. 100 calories is the answer. That's your X. Okay, so you just figure that out based on your ratio. Okay, so that is how you solve an unknown proportion. We cross multiply. All right, hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to go do another video after this with going a little bit more in depth with this. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.